What's good, y'all? You know exactly what time it is. The PS5 showcase was today, and they showed off a lot of very familiar things, some gameplay, and some stuff that's a little bit worrisome, but we'll get into that. But first off, I want to talk a little bit about the PlayStation Plus collection that they announced at this showcase. I want to make a different video talking specifically about that because I think there's a lot to unpack with that alone. But the idea of having all these PS4 exclusives playable on PS5 just basically from day one, just for having PlayStation Plus, it's starting to look like they're trying to compete with Game Pass a little bit, and that is really good because me myself having a PS4 basically throughout the entire lifespan of the PS4 and then having a PS3, etc., not having an Xbox system, I look at the Xbox Game Pass and I think to myself, I haven't played Halo that much, I haven't played Gears of War that much, I can play those games now. So giving people that maybe didn't buy in the PS4 a jump into the PlayStation ecosystem and just say, hey, you can play all these games and you could just experience all the things that PS4 had to offer without having a PS4. And that's really great, especially seeing how God of War is now going to have a sequel sometime next year. It might get delayed, we don't know exactly, but we do know that, hey, I mean, if you haven't played that game, you can play it on PS5 day one. But again, there's a lot to go into with that. I want to talk about something else at the end of my little just talking about what happened in the showcase or my little highlights of it. And to start us off, Final Fantasy 16 looks absolutely stunning. The gameplay is, I'm assuming, is actually in-game gameplay, and the cutscenes themselves look really amazing. It looks like they're really taking the route of Final Fantasy 15 or Final Fantasy 7 Remake and just going along with that and just making these into more action RPGs, which I personally love so much. And seeing the combat and the grand scale of the summon monsters are just so awesome. It looks like a really great game, and hopefully it doesn't take forever and a half to come out. I'm just saying, some of these games can take a very long time before they actually release. Next up, Miles Morales. There's not a lot to really say about it. We've already seen a lot of the game already. They did show off more gameplay that looks absolutely amazing again. And one really interesting thing about this is that I don't know if they actually said this during the presentation. I wasn't paying entirely too much attention to that at the exact moment, but afterwards they did say that this game is going to be available on PS4. Not only that, but there's a couple other games. I'm just probably going to put up a graphic right now, some of the games they said are going to be on PS4 as well as PS5. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting because this is one of the games that really pushed me to get a PS5 on day one, and now seeing that it's not going to be a PS5 exclusive day one, I'm kind of changing my mind about that and just saying, hey, I could probably just stick with my PS4 and be just fine with this game. It's probably going to have enhancements anyways if you just play the PS4 version on PS5, so what's the difference? But yeah, man, this game definitely does look like it has a lot of improvements over the original, which is so awesome. It's definitely a mid-step going into the next generation, but it is looking so great. Definitely looking like a great predecessor, sorry, not predecessor, a half sequel to the first game. Next up, we got Hogwarts Legacy. I don't have anything really to say about this, honestly. It looks fine. I was never really into Harry Potter, like, ever as a kid or anywhere close to even now, so somebody's gonna be happy about this for sure, but it definitely ain't me. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. We also got a second trailer for Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 8, which looks really good on the RE engine again. And I honestly can't say too much about it. I personally haven't played a lot of Resident Evil games in the first place, but it's still going along the route of being a first-person game, just like Resident Evil 7, so hopefully that turns out well. I still have to play 7. I do have it sitting like right next to me right now, and I have not played it, but I am looking forward, well, not really, because I'm not into horror games that much, but hey, I'm still going to play it, try it out, and hopefully Resident Evil 8 lives up to 7 and probably is going to be a better game just overall. Then they talk more about Deathloop, which still is a game I'm looking forward to. They didn't really do too much more with it. They just talked about how they're going to have more of the assassinations and how you can combine some of them and just change the flow of the story to make it easier to kill some of your targets. So I'm definitely keeping that on the top of my PS5 games list, and I'm thinking that that's not going to be a PS5 exclusive for very long. It's probably going to be cross-platform at some point, but you know, I'm just saying. But hold lord, something else that came up was sorry, I just couldn't keep a straight face with that one. But Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition is coming out, and the thing about it that sucks is that it's going to be available digitally at first and then physically later on, which I think they did that same thing with 4 Special Edition. But hey, you can play as Virgil, which is something that always seems to be the case in these Special Editions. And me being a fan of DMC myself, I am just happy to be able to play this game on PS5. I'm happy that they're porting this over at all, just making it playable on PS5 with upgraded textures and graphics and all that other good stuff. And hopefully that means that they're going to work on a Devil May Cry 6 sometime in the future, hopefully before it's like halfway through the PS5's life cycle. But yo, the next game that I want to talk about, this one is not a huge game in my opinion, but it is a big deal that they actually had this game come into the showcase, because it just shows how big this game has become. And no, I'm not talking about Fortnite. I mean, Fortnite is obviously on the PS5, cool, I guess. But Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is coming to the PS5, and that actually made it into the showcase, which is a big thing because this started off as an indie game, as we all know, and it's made it so far to be on the PS5 enough to be up against these games like Fortnite and Devil May Cry and Spider-Man, all these different games. It's that big apparently. And I think that they see this as one of the selling points for the PS5 is really cool actually. And I know the Five Nights at Freddy's series is just played out to death at this point, but I am still happy to see that they are pushing it this hard. And next up, that Demon's Souls remake is looking nothing short of clean. I'll be honest, I'm not really a Souls fan. I really do love action RPGs. I love them to death, but the action RPGs that are more difficult, I've just shied away from them more or less. I'm getting a little bit more used to them, just, you know, taking my time with things and not trying to rush through stuff and just, you know, accept that you're gonna die a lot because it's gonna happen. But yeah, at some point I definitely am looking forward to getting Demon's Souls and getting my ass whooped with that game because I want to get into those games a little bit more. I currently do have Neo and I have the Surge, and I want to get Sekiro too, but you know, I've just been shying away from playing those games just because of the whole thing about difficulty. But as soon as I just suck it up and get good, I am going to love getting my ass kicked once again by that game. Well, one thing I want to touch on about the PS5 showcase is the fact that people on Twitter are talking about the fact that PlayStation themselves clowned Xbox for having these games that are available on PC and saying that their games are just completely all next gen, PS5 only. But hey, what's this? Horizon, the next Horizon game is going to be on PS4, and also Miles Morales? What's going on? And listen, I personally don't think it's that big of a deal that these games are going to be on the older gen systems because hey, that's just going to happen every now and then. And I get the argument that these older systems are holding back the games from being the best that they possibly can be because of old hardware. So yeah, I can say that PlayStation was a little bit wrong for clowning Xbox for that because hey, you want to cater to your fan base. Your fans may not be able to afford a $500 or $400 new system at the moment because, you know, there is kind of like a global crisis going on right now and people are going through a lot of financial issues. Let's just say that. So hey, even if these games are going to be quote unquote held back to a certain extent, it's fine. It's not a big deal to me. Going into like year 2 or year 3 of the PS5, that's when I'd say like, okay, maybe we should stop doing that. But for now, going into the first year, it's absolutely fine. And I don't know why PlayStation is clowning Xbox for this because hey, I mean, you've been putting these games on PC as well. I mean, PC is kind of a competition in a certain way, so it was pretty stupid of you to think that that was something that you should do and try to one up Xbox when you're doing the same exact thing. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up the PS5 showcase and my thoughts on it. I'm going to make another video probably tomorrow if not the next day talking just about the PS Plus collection because that is absolutely an interesting topic. But until then, make sure you're subscribed to stay notified on when that video comes up, and also don't forget to follow me on Twitter where we can continue the conversation. And that is it for now, so I'll see you guys in the next one.